Remember when Brexit meant Brexit? Well, apparently Labour didn't get the memo, or maybe they chose to shred it. Today we're diving deep into the 5 sneaky ways Keir Starmer's Labour government is accused of quietly smuggling Britain back towards the EU. And trust me, some folks are calling it nothing short of a Brexit betrayal. Number 1, youth mobility. Yeah, you heard right, youth mobility. Labour's new scheme sounds harmless enough, letting young Brits and Europeans work and travel more easily across borders. Sounds familiar? Well, that's because it essentially revives something suspiciously similar to freedom of movement, just rebranded and carefully limited. Critics see this as Labour's clever workaround reintroducing EU-style migration by stealth. The EU is absolutely insistent on this scheme, even threatening to block other deals without it. Labour insists it's a controlled program, similar to what Britain has with Australia. But many Brexit voters aren't buying it, worried this could be the slippery slope back into open-door immigration policies they clearly rejected. And number 2, EU-UK Defence Pact. Labour wants Britain back in bed with Brussels, militarily speaking, that is. And they are chasing a juicy defence agreement granting access to a massive €150 billion EU defence fund. Sounds like good news for defence giants like BAE Systems, right? Well, here's the catch. French negotiators have cheekily tied renewal of EU fishing rights in British waters to this defence deal. And surprise, surprise, these fishing rights are due to expire in 2026. So what's the problem? Critics argue it's a sneaky trade-off, sacrificing British fishermen's rights for defence cooperation. Jacob Rees-Mogg bluntly calls it a betrayal, warning that this defence deal is basically a Trojan horse leading Britain right back into Brussels' regulatory orbit. Supporters say it boosts security and intelligence sharing, vital for national defence. But Brexit purists view this compromise as an alarming step backward toward EU dependency. And number 3, food and veterinary standards. Hold on to your sausages and pork pies, folks, because dynamic alignment is on the table. And what's that, you ask? Dynamic alignment means Britain would continuously match EU standards on food and veterinary practices. Proponents claim it smooths trade, especially around the sticky Northern Ireland Protocol. But here's the snag. Alignment means accepting the European Court of Justice authority, something Brexit voters specifically rejected. And there's another kicker. Aligning with the EU could jeopardize a critical US-UK trade deal, as it could block American agricultural imports. Vice President J.D. Vance already hinted that such alignment might clash with American trade interests. So Britain faces a stark choice: smooth EU trade or deeper US ties. Brexit voters worry Labour is quietly choosing Brussels over Washington, and critics like Lord Frost warn this step severely undermines UK sovereignty, labelling it dynamic capitulation. And number 4, net zero and carbon markets. Labour's passion for green policies might lead Britain right back to Europe via carbon markets. Since Brexit, Britain established its own emission trading system, and that's ETS, but UK carbon prices are currently about half the EU's levels. And now, Labour wants to align these markets to dodge hefty EU carbon border taxes coming in 2027. And this move might shield British exporters initially, but raising UK carbon prices could hammer domestic industries and provoke retaliation from major partners like the US and India. Critics argue this alignment hands the EU significant leverage over British energy policy and economic decisions. Industrial heavyweights like Sir Jim Ratcliffe warn such levies already threaten British manufacturing competitiveness. Proponents counter that it's crucial for meeting climate commitments, arguing international alignment is inevitable anyway. Yet many fear this path erodes economic independence. And number 5, product regulation and metrology bill. Behind this boring-sounding bill lies a ticking sovereignty time bomb. This bill grants ministers sweeping powers to align British product standards with EU rules. Voluntarily, sure, but alignment nonetheless. And why? To keep goods flowing smoothly between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, which still follows EU rules thanks to the Northern Ireland Protocol and the Windsor framework. And the catch? Critics argue there's the zero benefit. Goods from Britain will still face checks and Britain would follow EU rules without any say. Former Brexit negotiator Lord Frost calls it stealth reattachment to EU standards, warning of a gradual erosion of UK independence. And worse, it's slipping through Parliament via secondary legislation, limiting scrutiny and democratic oversight. Analysts suggest this could become a model for quietly aligning more sectors with EU rules, severely compromising UK autonomy. And all these moves combined form what critics label Labour's Brexit betrayal strategy. And despite Keir Starmer's assurance of respecting the Brexit vote, Labour's current policy suggests a subtle yet determined drift back towards Brussels. Starmer maintains these steps are pragmatic, designed to bolster Britain's economic and international standing. Yet growing segments of the electorate, spurred by recent successes of parties like Reform UK, view these actions with profound suspicion. And meanwhile, Reform UK's recent electoral success, especially their big win in the Runcorn and Helsby by-elections, signals growing public backlash against perceived Brexit backtracking. And their rise highlights increasing voter suspicion about Labour's intentions. With Reform polling increasingly well nationally, it underscores voter anxiety about Labour's direction. But Labour argues these moves are about pragmatism and not betrayal. They highlight tangible benefits, easing labour shortages, boosting the economy, strengthening defence and avoiding damaging tariffs. Yet, skeptics remain unconvinced, seeing Labour's strategy as Brexit reversal disguised as cooperation. And this disconnect between Labour's assurances and voter perception risks fueling deeper political divisions. And there lies the heart of this controversy. Is Labour genuinely making practical adjustments to Brexit's realities, or are they quietly steering Britain back into the EU's embrace? This question isn't merely academic, it's profoundly shaping Britain's future and the sovereignty, economic path and international relationships. And ultimately voters must decide. With critical elections looming, including significant tests in Scotland and Wales next year, Labour's delicate balancing act faces intense scrutiny. Will Keir Starmer manage to reassure voters he's genuinely committed to Brexit, or will these 5 strategies confirm their deepest suspicions? Well, the upcoming UK-EU summit scheduled for May 19th will further clarify Labour's trajectory, potentially intensifying these debates even further. So keep watching this space. And here at Outside Views, we'll keep breaking down these complex stories, ensuring you always know what's happening behind those closed Westminster doors. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell icon for more insights into Britain's ever-evolving political landscape. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video, and the next video is already right here in the end screen.